Hello guys, this is Sonic. In the last video of building a calculator part 1, we had looked at importing, we had defined a simple function, and we had taken the inputs from the user. Okay, we had written the code to take the inputs. Now in this video, we're actually going to be changing the input statements a little, because we're not only going to support the normal functions like addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. We're also going to be supporting many other functions that people use. Okay, so let's start off with the while loop. While true, you've noticed here I've written true instead of an expression. That means that this loop is going to go on forever and ever and ever. Okay, you could also use a number instead of true, but that's okay. Then let's change some of the English and grammar over here. Type in the operation to be performed. Instead, let's do something like this. Type in hedge. Okay, we get an error. Why is that? That's because we've used single quotes on the main string and single quotes on this thing that we're going to use. Now, we could change these to backslash and then single quotes, but instead of that, we're going to change the outer strings to double quotes. Okay, so now we can type in hedge over here and there's no error. Okay, so type in hedge for a list of operations. Let's remove to be performed. So hedge stands for help, and then or Q to exit the program. Okay, so they can either type in H or Q. Depending on that, we're gonna display the result. Okay, so let's remove this input for taking the second number, and let's add an if statement. So if operation, that is open, is Q, then we're gonna use the break statement. Now the break statement here terminates the current loop, whether it's a while loop or for loop or whatever. It terminates the loop. Okay, terminates, not goes to the next iteration like the continue statement. Terminates the loop completely. Okay, then we add in an elif statement. Elif operation is hedge, that is for help. Then we're gonna print a multi-line string, actually no, a multi-line formatted string. Okay, so a multi-line string is defined by 6 quotes of one type. So it's like single quotes or double quotes, anything like that. Let's define 2 variables over here that we're gonna be using extensively, like a lot in our, in our help statement. So we're gonna, if you see over here, I have a calculations file. In it, I defined some calculations that you people might want to do usually, okay, like calculations on circles, rectangles, and squares, and important constants. Now, we're not only going to do these calculations, we're also going to do the other, main calculations that we use in our daily lives. Okay, so we can do something like this. First, we define a section for normal calculations. Okay, so it's like addition comes under normal calculation. We're gonna say what is the sign for addition, and we'll give them an example. That's why I've named the variables example1 and example2. Okay, example1 plus example2. That's what they're gonna have to use. They're gonna have to type in to execute the addition statement. Okay, now we don't need these many hyphens. Let's put this addition statement in a section. Okay, so this is not like an actual section. Instead it's something like we type in the normal calculations that you can perform, and then we give a bunch of hyphens, and then we have all the normal calculations like addition, subtraction, etc. So let's define another operation, that's subtraction. Its sign is minus, and example. Now if we don't type in anything in the curly braces, you're going to see an error. Okay, so example 1 minus example 2, and then we head over to the next one, that is multiplication. Its sign is of course an asterisk. Okay, see, it raises an error if we have empty, if we have nothing inside curly braces in a formatted string. Okay, now remember, if you are not using a formatted string and you use curly braces, Python is actually going to print out those curly braces. Okay, it's going to print out curly braces with whatever is inside them. It's not going to evaluate that expression or whatever and then print it. Okay, so if I were actually to do this on camera, it would take like a lot of time. So yeah, I've finished all of these off camera. So we have some normal calculations, that is the main calculations. We have some important constants like pi and Euler's constant. We have calculations on circles, that is like the area, the circumference. Some of these operations require parameters. Okay, so I've defined that too, and we have calculations on rectangles and squares. This is just the main calculations like area, perimeter, and finding the length from the breadth and the breadth from the length. Okay, so these are some of the few functions that we're going to be using in our calculator. It's always good to test out your code often, because then you know what's working and what's not working. So let's just do that right now. We're going to test out Q and H. Okay, welcome to the calculator. First, we're going to test out the quit statement. There you go, it works. Now let's test out H. So H, okay, we get a list of all the operations that you can perform on our calculator. I'd really like a new line over here. Let's just do that real quick. And there you go. Now let's run this program again. And let's test out H. Okay, there's that new line we wanted. So that's it for this video. We had changed the input statements in this video, and we had added this while loop, and we had given a list of all the operations that you can perform on our calculator. Okay, so in the next video we're actually gonna make these calculations, like how we're gonna execute them. Till then, bye, see you later.